Oregon.
He's looking at me like he would kill me now, right?
Detests coastline. So we're going to quickly get through the ban phase, and then I think we will be bumping back to us, potentially just to fix something that's gone wrong.
Oh, I've put it in my contract that I want to get a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
So
understandable.
Yes.
Are you trying to build the reaction portfolio?
Yeah. There's enough pictures, so I need to start posing a little bit in just a second.
You do.
So
pull some faces.
The screenshot.
Pull some reaction faces.
What kind of reaction face should I pull?
I don't know. I think you need to ask the Bartosz.
Oh, I was going to say.
Oh, you could ask Jess as well. Just a
say.
professional face puller.
Face puller.
For memes and meme purposes. Clash is gone. Habana and Thatcher both removed. Who's the last ban? Who do you think it's going to be? Mute?
Miro? Aruni?
Aruni? Okay.
Not
That
bad.
leaves the mirror on the board, and that could be obviously a pretty big play down underneath as well in dorms. The Aruni... Hey, welcome back. We weren't lying to you. The Aruni does get a fair bit of a run out, though. She's very good. She offers, obviously, those quick rotations. She can control E-Box Hatch, which is probably one of the most consistent places. Like, what we've seen recently a little bit, and I'm curious to see if we get it from APAC as well, is open E-Box extension up into meeting and the hold up there as well around stage.
Could be. And what we also do often see is, of course, a lot of these laser gates will be deployed inside of blue towards the barrels door and towards the stairs door, of course, just to make sure more utility has to be used, because a lot of the pushes, let's say at least 60-70% of them, do majorly originate from the barrels perspective of view, and of course from the E-Box hatch and the back stairs. So it is quite a good pick to go for a ban. And as you said, the mirror will be open and will instantly be picked up by Labyrinth, who's going to be using that. Now, you saw the wall currently being set up at the bottom of the freezer. That will just be looking in. You can deny anybody who's trying to... Well, let's say you could try to deny anybody who's trying to go for a push, because we have seen that go wrong when smoke canisters came out and suddenly people snuck past. Or is it snuck? Is it sneaked? Snacked?
I think... It's definitely not the last one. It's definitely not...
Yeah, I can't read you spelling in the air.
Sneaked.
Sneaked?
Sneaked works fine. Sneaked. Sneaked.
Snuck. It was snuck.
Sneaked.
Sneaked.
And there's a very funny video I'll send you guys later of Conan O'Brien proving
I
this
don't know what it is.
to Natalie Portman, Harvard graduate. Sneaked!
They sneaked.
Haha, Milosh! You're not
having
even
a bit of
supposed
an
to be here. You're not real outside of desk segments.
I'm having an argument with the entire talent team now. What past tense of sneak is.
I just like arguing. And Tomorrow likes being shot as they went for the entrance there, sprayed through on the door. They didn't quite get the body they were looking for out the garage, but that's going to give them a little bit of food for thought. The IQ is a pickup that I was going to comment on before we sort of unraveled a little bit there. And it's, you know, you have Valk on the board, you're expecting a presence here, but you also still have a lot of other dangerous utility, especially in these sort of tight run places. And Oregon can be a map where you can hide those cameras, especially externally, in such dangerous places. Yes. And these are teams that really know how to run those.
And we've criticized a lot of the teams in the past for not bringing an IQ, even though cameras were a big problem. Think about the G2 games, where G2 was using that Valkyrie for, you know, the majority of that. So the IQ is on the board now. There is no Valkyrie for now, but that could often quickly change. This Crazy Boy now deciding to start opening up these hatches, quickly making some good work of it. Creating an angle first inside of E-Box, which allows to be, well, to pull up a challenge if you really need to. If someone will be playing from below, trying to toss up a C4. It is, of course, not the case, and there's a lot of fuels being used. These struggling opening up the hatch. There you go.
Finally got it.
Canisters, almost 4.
I mean, you got to put pressure on that hatch, sure, but at the cost of it being all of what they needed to burn their way through. They're trying to drop themselves in. They've cleared E-Box of the pressure, but as Canos is still just creeping around that blue door, that's going to be the next problem. Tomorrow's suffered a little bit, but it's Aziz that is the first off the board there. 11 gets the drop around the back of the tower stairs and is now going to try and drone their way ahead. This is very good spatial control from Talon. Sure, a little bit slow on the burn, but if you can still make things have their mark when it needs to, well, you're sort of setting yourself up for an execute here.
Definitely so. 11 just waiting on the back stairs. It's about to move in, and as the drone spots out Canos, they know where he is. Crazy Boy just swings in from the E-box hatch, and the rest of T1 starts to drop. They're setting themselves up for a really good execute here. 25 seconds on the clock. It's Labyrinth quite up close. He managed to pick up one with the Factor. Goes for the second, but it's completely blinded. Replica, however, not able to find a kill, and Tomorrow brings it back to an equal situation. The breach, however, will be used. 2-2 as we are counting down slowly but steadily. 10 seconds on the clock. Soldier is in a good position in the middle of Freezer. Needs to deny Replica. That's the only kill he needs to get. He needs to find the Thermite, and he is going to be swinging in, but the cover is there on a pillar. And yet he will find that final kill on the first round. We'll go to T1.
Well, it's a bit of an opening there. They were able to sort of hold themselves back against Talon setting themselves in and trying to sort of, I guess, Talon, they wanted to assert themselves a little bit. They lost that opening engagement, lost that body after they almost lost the smoke very early on as well from wherever they'd sort of been gallivanting. You sort of realize it's a bit of a high-cost risk there, having the smoke be the one that's going for those early picks and the chance of it. There's that Falc I talked about being a potential big problem and a big presence here as we actually see it picked off. They're going to sort of bait that play, and I guess they're sort of saying, well, keep the IQ, we're going to play against that.
Yeah, they already had the IQ, of course, and that is now being revealed as well. With that, they're like, all right, do we really want to go for the Valkyrie? Are we going to swap it out? Of course, maybe, yeah, it was already planned at the start to bring that Frost. Because Frost on the side can be actually really strong. And there's a couple of places that you can go for. Sometimes you see it at the little drop down from the attic. Often on that blue tarp, a Frost mat is being placed. Quite easily get shot, but when time's running out quite quickly, you might be able to, as a result, catch them up. There you have it. That's the first Frost mat. Now, normally you would be able to find a second one, for example, behind the foosball table, as you say. Is that the actual English word for it?
Foosball.
Is it? All right.
Yeah, I don't know why. It must be another, but it's just a foosball table. I'm assuming it's another language, but I don't want to start that conversation again. With the
Since everybody's still in here, you know?
I know, they're just chilling out. They're just listening in. Frost setting themselves up. Yeah. It can be a very fun operator. It can obviously be the surprise operator in the pick. You're looking at the little drop-off if you're coming across attic. You're looking at potentially underneath double to secure some semblance of safety. Canos is the one that's trying to find that early engagement this time around, but nobody has drifted that way as of yet. They're going with a slow and steady clear as they did before. I said Talon were able to get the first pick at around 40 seconds to set themselves up for the execute, but you know, sometimes if you're still got a bit of a backline like they had with the sort of setup inside, it doesn't give you a huge amount of ground, so they're much quicker here in making sure they close down towards the bedroom, towards Trophy.
There we go. Quick rotation will be opened up and should take care of the Frost mat as well. Evan will not even check. Keith has just blind faith into the fact it will be cleared out, and the second RC Retiro will be brought out. There is a Mute Gemmer right on the corner, I believe, or on the other side. They have it. It's going to be very hard to take care of that, and thus the ADS and the Banshee will stay up for now. The only way to deal with that is maybe open up a little bit above, get a grenade in, and try and take care of the Mute Gemmer as a result. But as you know, it will instantly blow up the RCE right after.
Wow, I said they were quick to get themselves to the punch, but they've still got a lot of work here. They're going to try and open up that width of the angle and walk in to make sure they can get some semblance of safety around the foosball table, around the generator, and around the other side of the back. Look at the call of intel. Yeah, man, there's loads of stuff around that corner, and they can't quite get the swing because you know that there's this backline around the dorm side, so the Flores drones, the Roteros, are going to steadily make their way in. Tomorrow's shield. I'm not sure. Yep, that was the drop on the shield there. They swung, and they had the backup drone in place. Replicas realized there's a bit of soft underneath, so with Labyrinth still causing problems, they cannot quite go to that default, and if they're feeling confident with the C4, they can't really find anywhere else close to.
Like how they used the sensor scanner from IQ to quickly check how many ADSs were in the way of that shield, managed to just toss in the exact amount of flashes that were necessary to waste those ADSs, instantly take care of the shield after. So good usage here of the scanner of IQ to try and figure out where and when these ADSs have been located, have been placed down. As Crazy Boy in the meantime going for a bit of a flank below. He's trying to find Canos and trying to find the player that is below the big window, but he's going to be caught in the middle of both of them. As Canos picks up that kill.
Wow, Talon are just completely overwhelming here on their defense. Or they're able to keep swinging around. 11 finally finds one back into his favor, but he's got a lot more bodies left to try and dig through, and he finds one more. Okay, it's a bit of a build, but you've only got 10 seconds, 3 more bodies. They've still got themselves some control over White. 2 bodies there. One of them's just going to pull slightly further away. You've got to try and pick it and stick it at this point in time, but they're right behind you. Talon pull themselves back with a sturdy hold.
11 there. You see the power such a player carries, just able to pick up these kills left and right, and didn't pick up the diffuser in the end, realized there's no time, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get away with a plant, and decided to hunt as a result. Unfortunately, was not allowed to find any. As they try to stick the plant behind the foosball table, they weren't able to make it stick, because there was that player below, and that was the exact reason why Crazy Boy went on a bit of a hunt. However, it was unknown to T1 that there were currently 2 players holding off. One inside the security, one inside of the showers corridor. As we now head into round number 3, we see a Oryx coming out. And it's a bit of a niche pick, you would say.
Yeah.
Considering we are on the basement, normally these hatches do get closed. Now, it could be just as well, as you just see now, by Canis open up with the Bailiff. And
this is it.
That will allow him a lot of rotation ability. And he might even go all the way into extending into Attic, opening up that hatch as well, so he can jump up and down as he sees fit, whilst trying to keep control of the meeting room, because he's barricading it off. He's reinforcing off the side walls just to make sure that this is going to be his domain and his territory. Whereas that will be a point that T1 will really want to take control of, as it is such an important contest point.
This is one of those things that I talked about as well at the beginning, where I said
it didn't break.
it's a very strong wall. This is one of those things I said at the beginning, where with the Aruni gone, she was a big part of this hold for the teams that we saw demonstrate this sort of open play around here. It was something we saw a couple of EU teams do recently on their games here the other day, and I was curious to see if it was something that had sort of spread a little bit more, because it was usually lock off E-Box. You can sometimes see teams and players do extensions over the top of Attic, and they'll play around that hatch instead. But having the E-Box hatch open, having that as an extension, and trying to go a little bit tall, as if you were thinking of a club defense in a way, where you had the tall sort of build, but with a little bit less structure, is this hold. And it's really curious to see it kind of grow, because it takes a lot of confidence. There's a lot of dangerous places that you can sort of get cut in half. You've got to have a presence across and underneath, and the Oryx allows you the freedom, the vigil to sort of buy yourself some time too.
So they're creating an opening here, and that will be watched by Canis. What they really need to do is open up what you see right now. Replica with the exothermic will be putting up a lot of pressure down onto Canis as soon as that starts detonating. He's going to have to fall back, so either will decide to drop through the hatch, which I don't think he will do after a bit of pressure was put down there, and just fall back into the bedroom more so, quickly creating a rotation. And of course, with the open hatches, he's allowed to freely rotate up and down as he sees fit. But for now, we'll just hold off to the dining hall, because he has that Rima dash. He can just quickly sprint across the map and jump up hatches if he made a mistake or needs to be back upstairs. So
Well, he's eyeing wanting to put pressure back down on Attic. There was a drone that steadily went across. The call came that there was a body inside and just off the top of the stage. They've dug themselves deeper into the back of the meeting room, and that was the pressure that was coming from Kitchen. But look at this, as I said, that's allowing Talon to say, well, we want to put a little bit more pressure back on Attic. We know that they've dug deep, and if we can try and bite back across the two stories, that makes that body inside meeting so isolated, because they can't get support from the back line, they can't get support from above, and that really limits them. And you're looking at how they're having to reposition, the time that's already sort of been burnt through. Finally, they flood their way into the meeting, they're able to push those bodies out, but tomorrow, well, he's in a chance to swing around and get the take here. He sees the first and sprays down. That's the diffuser. Cold, and the rest of the push has already gone down inside E-Box. There's one body above that desperately needs to try and get a win here as the spray comes around the back. It's close and it's Aziz, but it's picked up by 11 there. That diffuser, though, Nelio has everything to try and do, as he's going for a very big rotation over the top.
Yeah, it has to use that, well, that hatch really to try and find an angle, but there's no real way we can find it as 11 brings it back to equal numbers. Soldier will go down before he gets traded himself, and it looks like they're just going to be going for kills rather than picking up that diffuser. And with 10 seconds left and a player still on that top floor, that is never going to be working, especially not if tomorrow's right above the hatch. They can down both your players, and T1 are losing on that round. Talon on their defense, a very extensive hold. and a good roam game coming through, and due to a lack of flank watch, or due to a lack of flanks being held by T1, we're allowed to chip away HP and eventually get that diffuser.
I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better person to draw up at a better time.
Yeah.
It was your diffuser carrier. At that point, generally all the hard destruction had been done. He was just your man to get in, get plant, and the cover comes through. But it was literally as the execute was happening underneath. They were trying to dig themselves through. They'd drop down onto E-Box. They'd put the pressure across, and he was left there waiting and sort of droning and moving ahead for them. And just that one loose body, that one loose sort of cannon, a bit of pressure that was applied back onto the forefront of that hold. Well, it led to the result that we saw there. From the moment that diffuser sort of hit the ground and there was still nobody to immediately get in the confrontation again, you're in this very tricky situation of, well, we've got to try and win all of our fights down here first before we do anything. Not easy.
It's definitely not easy. As T1, they need 2 or 3 attacking rounds. And it should be good. They should be having a very good opportunity of taking the match here as a result. Now, of course, we are on the tertiary site now, which is kitchen dining in this case. It sometimes varies. Some teams rather play the meeting room than the dining. Of course, due to the fact that there is quite a lot of verticality you can gain quickly from the small tower, which is very, very hard to contest, you have to say. Like, you need to be in there or you're not going to be able to contest it at all. And then, of course, you can use the heart breach from above to destroy the majority of the walls. And sometimes we do see the Maverick, for example, create a little bit of a hole into the showers as well. That suddenly just makes it unplayable or less playable. So there is plenty of ways to deal with it. Just the question is, how will T1 deal with it? Because for now, it seems like they're going to go for an attic push and try to take control of that top floor of the kid's bedroom.
Well, Yeti now sort of trying to apply some pressure very quickly here across the top. They're looking to lead him with the guns. They've been a little bit slow on some of their approaches. I think they've been sort of trying to calculate things, and obviously, as just proven by the previous round, that lack of sort of going for the kill, of trying to secure the pressure, led to, I think, things dismantling and not quite hitting the mark that they wanted to. So instead, they're not waiting around. They're not wasting any time. They're going to try and dig their way through instantly. Oh, no! Almost got what was a bit of a freebie there. I don't think anyone expected him to be right on that corner, and well, as soon as that canister started to burn, they're looking for the drop, they're looking for the way out.
Yeah, they're going to have to drop, and now get caught dropping as well. I'm not quite sure if the Echo went as well yet. Tomorrow did also drop down, but all the way through into that basement. We'll be playing around on the white stairs and looking for a rotation back towards the site now. But of course, is the Echo, has the Yokais available to yourself, and as there is no IQ on the board this time for T1, those might be a little bit more effective now. As the rest of T1 seems to be going for a bit of a rotate. Opening will be coming in inside of Pantry. As probably a small force will be dividing themselves towards the kitchen corridor as well to try and put up some pressure from that side. And with this, they have vertical control of the whole kitchen, basically.
Yeah, they're able to lock it down. There's still a C4 in the pocket of Labyrinth. I assume Soldier's got one in their pocket too, ready to apply some of this pressure back against the top. No, 2 impacts instead. So just a single C4 is what they're going to try and run with. I guess they wanted to maybe hold on to the top a little bit longer and didn't expect to try and be in this tricky sort of long arm situation. But as the pressure comes around the back of Zulu, they're still moving and manipulating. There's the C4. No one's caught. It's Nelio that actually finds Tomorrow in the meantime, and Replica's able to drive their way in towards the default. Aziz battles back, but it's blood either side, and suddenly the diffuser is cold. The spray from around the backside, and Aziz just hot and high foots it out of there. He's pulled himself back down towards Laundry. He's going to wait off 20 seconds, and they're a bit concerned right now. They've been able to get rid of the Echo, but there is still a lot of danger on the board as they find themselves so low health, and those 2 impacts might have a much bigger impact now than they could have before. The creep back up the top, Labyrinth gets the lock. There is another Talon round.
So well played by Aziz there, and it should take down the diffuser planter from those bottom floor stairs, going up from the Laundry and pushing in, and as a result, that is now 3 rounds in a row here for Talon. This one was quite close, you can almost say. They did basically have full site control. It was just the 2 roamers that were coming back towards the side, picking up a player each as they were trying to take and retake control. And we're going to find ourselves into a quick tactical timeout as we quickly hurry ourselves into our ready positions.
That wasn't a very hurried knocking things off the table. Yeah, okay. 3-1 up at this point. You're looking at telling their defenses.
Yeah.
It's not the most uncommon here for these teams to leave in a 4-2 situation, as it was highlighted. Both these teams are better on their defenses on this map. Most teams are. It's not the most out there statistic, but still, if you feel like you've just lost Kitchen, which for a lot of teams is that sort of tertiary site, it's one that you should be able to put more of a fight in.
And again, flanks.
Yeah,
That are
100%.
coming in. Bring a Nomad, bring a Gridlock, bring a Zero, for example, to put up some camps to just have information, because it's the second time that someone comes up from a flank and basically screws your entire take. Because, as you remember, when we were going for the laundry drop, the Thermite got dropped, who had the diffuser, then suddenly there's nothing really you can do anymore with 10 seconds left on that clock. What you saw now is twice in a row, the man who was planting that diffuser was being taken care of from the laundry stairs. Twice by the same person, and twice no one was holding it to try and stop it from happening. And as a result, we find ourselves now in a 3-1 situation where Talon has the opportunity to, you could almost say, magical 4 mark. That would be considered good for your defense, or like the minimum, you would have to say. And everything from there on, I'm going to say it again, I say it almost every match, is considered profit. So if a 5-1 half comes up for Talon, that is more than good. A 4-2 is something they can be happy with, whereas T1, considering this, you know, they're starting out on the attack, really wants to get 2 or 3 rounds onto the board before they move on to the defense themselves.
Now, in terms of how these two teams stack up, historically, you've seen out of the sort of past results, it generally favors Talon. Out of the past 5 maps that they've played each other, T1 has only ever won one of them, which was on Coast to 7-1. And it's not that it's been entirely sort of swept aside. There is a 7-2 that was on Club, but the last time they met, whoa, it was on Oregon. Whoa, and it was a 5-7, which didn't happen that long ago. That was, I think, less than a week ago, potentially. I'd need to double check the dates just in case, because my handwriting's that rubbish.
Sometimes you just need to rerun, you know? It's famous saying in the Benelux.
It is. Is it
Coach Sternab.
famous or infamous?
Infamous.
Infamous.
Really, truly. Cost us an EUL spot.
But you're not bitter.
No, not at all.
No, okay.
Because now I can still say, together with Stefan, we're the only 2 Dutchmen inside the EUL. So, but still unfortunate.
These things happen. But I guess it's seeing if things can happen now for T1. They've taken their moment, as you said. They need to spend a little bit more attention towards that flank watch. They've doubled up with their frags this time. Yana is on the board. Yeti off the IQ, off the Ash, now onto Iana. They're sort of trying to fix the problem with the rotation operation with that performance. In fact, no, I say they're double. They've actually got 6 now. They had 4 before. Now they have an extra 2. They're really trying to apply the pressure here onto the site itself. And with that body still underneath, there's just these problems. There is almost a trick, but not quite.
Not quite indeed. Trying to go for the double impact, hoping one would stick. However, none did. Not quite sure if 6 grenades will be the right decision to go for T1, considering how much they have been really struggling with any of the flanks that were coming through. One thing is for certain, though, they did manage to waste the ADSs. However, a smoke just came out, and that means that, you know, you cannot really instantly follow up with throwing in a grenade, and Yeti will still try and do that, but the ADS in the meantime already recovered, whilst he himself takes about 50 HP worth of damage just by the smoke that was down.
Well, there's Canos underneath, is able to strike and take out that body, and then just goes on a big rotate. Again, these flanks causing huge problems for T1, who cannot seem to get a handle and a grip on just the engagements that are coming through. There's another canister that stops that approach and instantly puts them a bit dead again, and more of T1 stalling out on this approach, being held at arm's length and held at bay. They finally burnt their way through and finally taken care of that shield. But you look at how much time's left, you look at how much has been taken out of their pockets, you look at how much there is still to do. Kanos is underneath, they have all of the site control, they bought themselves another 15 seconds here, and they bought themselves another take. PM Aziz.
Now, that's a long while ago.
That was a long while ago, but I mean, you're used to shouting it, aren't you?
Very much so. And as Canis now picks up another kill, will be Neilio that finally gets a response, but will be taken care of from below. And again, that is why they sent Crazy Boy that direction to try and make sure that that hole, that vertical, is not going to be successful. And Yeti just going to go for a bit of exit frags here. Will not be able to find 2. And Talon yet again will be able to win the round. And as you said, like, It's not the flank watch. Okay, the flank wasn't really the problem here. You sent Crazy Boy on an alternative direction. He wasn't able to get the job done. He was in a 1v2 situation. Playing that, like, he's very unlikely to get both those kills. However, the issue here is that the fact that you have 6 grenades, you've used 5 of them, and 3 flashbangs, and some stuns and concussions, and then you finally took care of that one shield you've been trying to take care of the entire round. Like, a lot of the utility was being used, and then you can say, like, why is that the case? Well, very smart plays by Talon. They get the Wamai in together with the Jaeger. So, as this, yeah, we see the 6-pick to Kavera coming in. That's going to be an interesting one. This was breaking down the point. As soon as they waste the ADS, a smoke canister gets tossed out into the middle of Trophy, which makes it that you can basically not really peek properly, because if you do so, then you will be, you know, taking a lot of damage while you try and angle your grenade the right way. As you saw there, the Yana took 50 points worth of HP. Just got by trying to get a grenade in, but by the time that she managed to line it up properly, the 10 seconds of the ADS already passed, and the grenade was eaten by said ADS. And then the second one got eaten by the Wamai disc. They just got tossed into the corner again and activated right after. So, like, just not quick enough or not wasting those smoke canisters early enough. Zazi now gonna go for some quick, nice Kavera plays, if you remember. Just going for these leans, whilst in the quick silent stat method.
My curiosity is piqued by not only the Kavera, but obviously coming here instead of going down underneath. It was obviously the one site that they've lost so far, was Laundry. And they don't want to, I guess, risk that. You get that as a bit of a bait and play. You're on 4-1, which is pretty good. It's standard here for your hold. You've got a lot of momentum, and they've wasted their time out. And I guess it's seeing if they can, you know, play against that. Find 5-1, have a bit of a surprise. For the first time, we are seeing dedicated flank watchers. You've just gestured. Jackal is on the board. He can potentially, finally, get a handle on some players, apart from potentially Aziz.
That's it, right? Like, they picked the Jackal to try and deal with the roamers, to try and deal with the flanks that could be coming up by just quickly scanning the footsteps after they fall back or they have been in a position. You get a good spot, and they'll have to fall back as a result. But as you said, Aziz can just activate the silent step and not leave any footsteps, or will be not spotted whilst the silent step is active. So for those of you that wonder how it works, if Nilja manages to find some footsteps now, he will scan them. That will give you 3 or 4 pings, depending on how long ago it was that Aziz has been there. But Aziz himself will get a little bit of a HUD pop-up that shows you how far away like the spot is. As you see right now, it's coming up. So Aziz will now get a little bit of a marker, knows exactly when the next ping is coming on. If he activates the silent step just before that, like he does right now, it will not ping him. And as a result, thus, they will not know where he is at all.
And he's currently having a bit of an adventure around here. He's just sort of getting that face check clarification that nobody is putting pressure on small tower. They have all of it coming on big tower, on that sort of backside of the stage where they've set themselves up. They've got this opening. They haven't fully sort of stretched themselves all the way to the top, and the spray is coming around from the kitchen rotates. They've got to try and get a bit of a handle here on the corridor as, well, Soldier digs themselves even deeper. That C4 in pocket could be big here if he can swing it, but instead he wants to try and take the gunfight first. And to be fair, it's been pretty successful for them so far, and even in amongst all that, Crazy Boy is the one that goes down. Hasn't been able to have the impact this game that they've wanted to. We see Kavera gets into a little bit of a scrap, but she's got to rotate, and they've now still got this problem. 40 seconds, and he is eyeing a staircase that is very dangerous if this goes unchecked.
Waiting for the full duration for the silent step to be activated before activating it again, and allows him to try and move up, but Nilja will be taking care of him, and finally they will be able to deal with one of these flanks. However, 20 seconds left on that clock. The smoke canisters will now be tossed out. The ADS, however, will be eating one. One of the lines of sights will be covered, which is that mirror window. Soldier will go down. This might allow them to go for a plant, as Replica is attempting to do so, but he will be able to sneak past Labyrinth. Will be picked up, and we're in a post plant now.
Wow, for the first time this game, we find ourselves in the post plant. We find ourselves in a situation where T1 were able to claw some of the control and momentum they had back before. They waited and hesitated, and it was late in the water. But being able to pick up that flank, being able to pick up what had caused them so many problems has obviously led to that modicum of success. 4-2. They have a little bit more breathing room as they head over to the defense, their preferred half, and they head over to their defensive half. And you know, I guess it's seeing if they can build a bit of energy here, because if they are still struggling, which you know.
That's it. Luckily, they don't have to worry about flanks anymore.
No.
You know, so like, that has been the big pain point for T1. 2 or 3 rounds were lost due to a flank coming in from Talon. And you see Talon instantly picking up Nomad, an operator that is perfectly equipped with, well, making sure that flanks will not be as effective. You can put up an air jab, they will have to shoot it or walk through, and you hear the big sonic boom go off. You know exactly where they will be coming from. Know exactly that a flank was on the way, and you can be prepared for it in that case. It also gives you a bit more, you know, ease of mind knowing that these air jabs have been deployed at the, for example, laundry stairs. If we would be going back to that round where it was, what was it, coming up again twice in a row? Was it Aziz that came up with the shotgun, able to pick up the kill onto the planter twice? Could be.
Yes.
Either way, it gives you that ease of mind knowing that, well, if that air jab is there, it is going to be very unlikely that it will be taken care of without us knowing, because we should be playing close around it.
Similar hold that we're seeing here, in that we have that shield on that swing around the kids' dorm's door. We have the double down of those discs and the ADSs too, to keep a bit of a control on the many, many projectiles that can come that way. The difference here, though, is that is a Goyo that is going to buy them a little bit more danger. It's that risk and reward. Is you assume that that shield is going to fall at some point. If a team is dedicated to getting rid of it, they can. They can sort of bounce the angles, and you have enough utility. It's the volatility of it that might cause a bit of problems, where you've suddenly found yourself 15 seconds and you can't swing that corner. If that's in a place where the kids' dorm's door gets locked off too, and you've sort of lost a bit of attic, it's very dangerous then.
All right, runs off at the right time. I was going to say that grenade would have been perfectly on point, but Cannons didn't know 11 was inside the dining room, and that will be a free kill to come through as he jumps in right after the grenade popped. The drone was like, he fell off, you can just go in, but they didn't check the dining room, and as a result, Talon out, 1 man down. They managed to do quite a bit of damage onto Yeti, but he still lives, and that means he's still a big danger, because he could just pop up at any time and try and take you out as a result. And now you've lost your Yana. You've lost who is now filling that role of an entry fragger ever so more, and has the opportunity, of course, to use the Gemini to get our soldier. I don't know what to say. He checked it and decided to move on.
I am thinking that was
for the sake of check.
One of those moments where you just have a bit of a brain fart. One of those moments where you just sort of, you check it and then your brain says, that's fine, and you go and then you die and you're like, no, that wasn't fine. Those things happen regardless of what tier you play at. That was one of those moments here, and well, unfortunately, it just puts a little bit more woe into the side. I said that shield might be something they can get rid of, but you look at what has been removed from their pockets, and well, that's a lot of that utility burn. They find themselves now only limited to 3 flashes and the 2 frags. They could try and burn Selmas if they wanted to be fair. Burning through what else is there with guns is actually turning into a little bit more prosperous. They've still got this rotation. They've still got their hard destruction. They've still got the capability to control some of the place. But those shields, those ADSs, all of that is generally going to go unburnt and undestroyed. And if it does, it's going to have to be a lot more specific.
Flashes are being tossed in to try and dislocate the player, and air jab quickly being tossed behind the shield, meaning that if the player goes back, he will be blown through that shield. The grenade will quickly make sure that the shield has been taken care of. Probably also destroy the air jab in that case, but either way, it allows for movement through the attic. It allows for you to try and take control of that area. As Tomorrow is setting himself up in the big window, he needs to wait. He needs to wait for these 2 Talon players to get into a position where they can make sure that there is cover from Bones. Because 11 is still playing close. There's nowhere you're allowed to move in, and as Yeti is prone on the top here, we'll be able to pick up the first kill. The second one as well. It's only up to Tomorrow now in the big window. In a 1v3 situation with 10 seconds left, there's almost no way that this will go his way.
Yeah, at this point, it's just trying to do some scratch damage. You're still looking at the, I was going to say the C4, but that's gone. You have another impact there. It goes T1's way. They were able to get an early pick. There was a bit of a blind hope that they could drive themselves through into the defense around Showers, hoping that there was just one body, and the communication to swing around against the Yana made things difficult. The misstep on Armory's stairs, and that's how I'm going to phrase it, because I believe it was just a mistake. That didn't make things easier too, and Talon, they're going to have a bit of a conversation before they find themselves drawing level again on 4-4.
Yeah, definitely so. And I think it would be a good choice, considering that they just tried to go a bit quick, didn't quite work, so there's a mistake in communications going on, or a mistake in droning. Something went wrong, and they're now deciding to take their time out to try and stop the bleeding from before it becomes too bad for them. So they're hoping to make sure they can stall any momentum that would be built up if you would be doing it in 2-3 rounds from now when you're, oh, hey, it's match point. We need to stop this now, otherwise we're losing. So I get why they're doing it now.
Yeah, a lead can very quickly diminish.
Yeah.
Especially if a team's building up momentum. We've just seen T1 take a round either side of the split as well. And that can be so big. That can be something where, you know, you've sort of found success against the two different echelons of the game. You can sort of go, okay, this is our pace now. Both attacking and defending is our pace. And this is what Talon's trying to break is... It's sure they've only just lost one and it was the first pick of the defense, but with how things were going before, they want to make sure that they can sort of break that moment and reset and say, okay, now we start the second half.
Yeah, that was just a warm-up. Trying to make sure that there are not all mistakes now that are going to be happening or have happened.
It's like one of those like seer orb things. I think, you know, when they're like things that will come to pass, things that have passed.
Yeah.
Or is that too much brain for this early?
It might be too much brain.
I'm sorry.
But it's early.
It's
early morning.
It is.
At least, you know, I think I might be the only one together with Milos that doesn't drink coffee.
You'll start. It's my old age.
That is true. I am still a young boy.
Yeah, still
young gunner.
Young gunner.
Not really gunner, actually.
Although, wait, Jess is younger. Is she one of the
Than me?
Of the group? No.
I was going to say, I don't know. How old is she?
I think she's the second youngest. I could be wrong about that. I think she is. And she probably drinks the most coffee out of all of us.
Yeah.
So maybe my theory is wrong.
It's a bit off.
Yeah.
In that case. Either way, it's going to be Talon onto their attack again. And we do see the Capitao beam drop, which is an operator we do not very often see anymore, but it's, you know, it's still a very, not niche, but situational operator, you can call it. Of course, has the two asphyxiating bolts, has the two micro smoke bolts you can use to guide and execute and make sure that there is a bit of area denial. Often used, of course, that, you know, if there's two rotations back into the site, you just push them up there, they're not able to move back in. And as a result, you can get off with a free plant. Now, Aziz just opened up this door, and now it's like the door magically closed again. What happened here? There is a player that just walked up the back stairs and decided to close it, went back down again, and this is giving him some worry, some trouble. Quickly checks it, will be opening up the door probably again. Yep. Let's see if it's going to be Yeti that decides to move up again to try and close the door.
I mean, I think at that point it wouldn't have the same modicum of success. I like the Capitao pick there. I think they realized that there was the sort of heavy shield extension. They realized that they've got a lot to try and burn through. You generally have that here anyway. On elbow, you're expecting a sort of modicum of the shields. They know that the Goyo is a consistency here. They know the smoke's there too. You got to have something to burn through, and he's got 4, and if you play your cards right, you can do the damage behind the shields, or you can just cover them off entirely. It's a very good pickup, I think, in this scenario, and there's another slow move from Maverick, but they get it done, and they get it done safely. That's the most important part.
That's the most important part, indeed. It allows you to continue fighting at full force, and as time is slowly ticking out, however, they need to bring that full force sooner rather than later, and as Labyrinth is looking to open up onto the laundry hatch as well. It's 11 that's dug in a bit deeper. I thought for a second he was on the top of the stairs, but not really the case. They need to make sure that they will be attacking soon. There's 50 seconds left on that clock. I believe there is no mirror window, no there is not, that they will have to deal with, and thus that gives them a little bit of extra space to work with, as Capitao needs to start pushing in these smokes now.
Goyo just dropped a shield in the freezer corridor as well. They have the shield that's on the backside of Laundry. They've set themselves up and gone, hey, here's where the push is coming from. Okay, Goyo, pick up sticks and let's go, because they don't really have the time to separate themselves anymore. They couldn't quite get everything open. A rotation around E-Box would probably be the biggest, but it's Yeti that gets that opening blow. There's those bolts I talked about before. They push that body out of there. Canos with a pick up there as the swing comes around in the cover of the smokes. They're trying to drive Labyrinth just into the side of Laundry, but well, it's a bit of a blurry area with all the canisters that have popped off, so they're going to have to go deeper and deeper. They're able to get themselves stuck into a position. The shotgun doesn't quite see the close body, and T1, they cannot quite get the hold on it, and Talon find that energy after their timeout.
And managed to make this one stick, and with that secured themselves their 5th round. It was a very bit, well, sloppy, I have to say, for T1, that retake. You could have quickly checked the corner of box because you know it has been opened up. Someone could have snuck in there because Rebecca just snuck right away.
I sent the video.
Yeah, I'll watch it after. But it's... you know, the Smokes managed to make sure that they had no clue where any of these Talon players were, and as a result, they managed to set themselves up quite well. However, it's just so unfortunate to see that after they realized where the push is going to be coming from, they set up the shields to try and deal with it. They just didn't have the manpower in the right positions to deal with it. I think if we had one person that would have snuck in a little bit closer towards the bomb chassis, for example, near Laundry, it would have been a different story that we would be telling right now, because one player inside the Laundry could have shut down the entire push from happening, even before it happened, because it was Cannons that, you know, managed to find its way into the site from there, and if he was shut down a little bit earlier, that plant might have never gone down in the first place.
Doubling down underneath, something that, to be fair, we've seen obviously other teams, they've kept their rotations up, they've kept themselves moving, they think that they can reevaluate the holds here. No need for changes on the side of Talon. It was a good strike. As I said, they sort of picked up the Capitao to help cover and deal with those Goyo shields. They had the well-played in place grenades too. It was long arm pressure, just to clear that little bit of safety, a little bit of space for them to stick that defuse down and build behind it.
Definitely so. And as it is T1 again trying to, you know, come off with a bit of a sneak here. There's 11 again on that corner, hoping that it's either going to be a jump in or it's going to be a contest of the player on that window. Canis last time that got picked up here, and it's now a bit more careful. Using a drone actually tomorrow to try and figure out if a player is inside a dining. Now, there is that pass, so that drone might be caught, and there's a big rotation from the T1 players, making sure to go back all the way towards the site. Not willing to risk their lives, but they're willing to risk a lot of time, and these pests really making it difficult to get any information onto the kitchen and the kitchen surroundings. As Yati just trying to call... Oh, no, wait. As he's opened up that door again, and Yeti's like, hey, we played this game previous round. Let me open up the door. Let me close it again. And this time he got caught by Aziz.
I mean...
as he tried to reclose that door. That is really unfortunate for him, but it's a good pick for Talon, and that is something to can work off. This is where you do not re-barricade these doors, because if you do it once, you might get away with it. If you start doing it every round, you will be waited for.
It is entirely that. It's fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And he wouldn't get fooled again. He was there ready, and he made sure that he could put the pressure back on. They now have themselves this man advantage, and you know, they didn't have that before, and they were able to make work of their push here. You can see it's instantly added some pace and some pepper behind the steps that they want to take. They know that they can build behind this. They know that they can try and apply the pressure. They're opening up Laundry. They opened up a bit of the backstairs before as well, and I think that's one of the things of the Talon push here is they give themselves options. They say, okay, well, we've realized that they're around here. We haven't been able to get anything from this side, so let's go for this take. They have a lot of time left to reevaluate, and that's what this is. It's prodding, it's probing, and giving themselves a plan B. I say as they all stack up, yeah.
I was going to say, there's going to be a very big stack here upon the freezer hatch, and might not be everybody to actually go for a push. Some actually just put up some utility as in the concussions and as in the impacts that are available to them. On the Zofia, as Nelia that tries to go a bit aggressive. A grenade is about to be tossed in, it seems like, but Ken is deciding to hold off for a little bit, gets his head picked up, however, even though he was being spotted out by a drone, and Anelia will retake control of the actual freezer. Needs a second person down there to try and overrun him, really, as he's going to be digging him really close to the wall.
Well, they're well aware that he's still on the corner, but they don't know how aggressive Nelio's playing it. But 11 round the backstairs strikes them the way that they were struck so many times in the past. Soldier and Labyrinth take this opportunity to dig their way through, but they've got to try and cross this firefight, and they somehow win it out. Talon, with a great response. They knew they had a moment to drive themselves through, and they took it.
They took it indeed, and they find themselves onto match point now. Not just one, but 3. It's plenty of time, you would say, to close out this game against T1, especially with how you have been attacking these past 2-3 rounds. Kid Storms will be up next, however. T1 deciding to not go to that bottom floor yet again for a 3rd time in a row. That was a great flank from 11 that came through. However, unfortunately, not able to win that gunfight against the Maverick. That, if he would have won the 1v1 against Labyrinth, that would have been a completely different story. We would have found ourselves in a 1v1 at that point where the diffuser has to go down at some point, and the time is ticking out slowly with 11 with that P10 Roni able to have himself into a strong position anywhere inside the freezer in that case. But it didn't happen. So there's no need to talk about it further. And as it is match point, we will see that top floor. The site that was won by T1 has been unlocked, of course, and we'll decide that it is the best place to possibly go to. Again, ADSs. Again, we do see the magnets to be deployed, and we see Goyo shields that are there to be taken care of. So, plenty of utility that needs to be wasted by the side of Talon. Plenty of utility that needs to be wasted where T1 actually struggled themselves with to try and destroy it. And they are banking onto the fact that that might carry them across for this one round. But after that, they still need to find 2 more. And as they went to laundry supply, neither of those were attempts, that is, were successful. So they might be a bit stressed for what is to come next.
Well, Yeti hasn't decided to try and put pressure onto the door here and face a fight earlier than they otherwise should. That allows Talon to do their pretty steady build up here. They're going for the clear, as we said. They're a multifaceted push team. They give themselves options and then go with what they think is the best one. And here, they've been more cautious about it. They didn't drive to showers. And yeah, we've seen a little bit of a struggle with Maverick this play.
At least they got the mute jammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Labyrinth wasn't really on the right angle. He put himself too close up to the walls. Really difficult to open up the wall as a result. And thus it is some scrappy holes, but it's enough to get it thrown through. And it should be enough to use an extra thermic if you feel like that is the play, or create a small hole next to the tarp that is, of course, covered off a little bit more and might not be found out by Yeti as quickly as he might want. However, you see the impact is located down below. It allows Tomorrow to move in soon to get the extra thermic on the wall. With that, they also want to take control of Trophy. They want to, at the same time, make sure that they can push into the attic. And Canis is basically put in the Crazy Boy role, where Crazy Boy was previously sent to that bottom floor to clear out any verticals, to clear out any roamers. It's now Canis that is playing around that area. We'll be dealing with some shields with that grenade. That is going to take care of the Goyo, so no need to use, you know, a bunch of flashes to get around the ADSs. No, all they do is just a simple grenade from below, and that's a great adaptation.
I mean, when you see it, it's so obvious. But it's also the thing, if you're looking at 11, who wasn't too far away underneath, he could have potentially tried to get some revenge. That's why it wasn't done so consistently by T1 on their attacks, because they were concerned about the play that was coming in underneath, and they couldn't quite get the solidity. They lost themselves. Hey, Replica, he went hunting for a trophy in the trophy room and found Soldier, much to the cost of his own health, but still an important removal there. As Soldier's gone, they lose that Zoth, they lose that ability to push their way around 30 seconds, and Z is going for a big rotate. Tomorrow's the one that's able to bring some balance back towards this push, and they're still, again, playing that Talon game. Where are we going to push from? Let's throw ourselves into multiple different locations, see what works, and then 3, 2, 1, go. But that C4 says no, shot out before it could even pop off there. Swinging on the attic door, they're going to finally drive their way through. Can't win the firefight against Yeti and 11, who get one apiece. There's one more, and there's suddenly a T1 round.
Not quite sure what happened there in the end. As Talon tried to move in, they neither of them were really aiming down the sights. Everybody was just, you know, walking slowly with their guns up, so they weren't sprinting. But weren't really able to quickly respond to the one player inside the attic. And as a result, they were able to be caught in the crossfire. They did a lot of preparation. They did manage to take a man advantage. However, not enough time really left to force anything out of that man advantage. They were forced to push in, and they were forced to walk into these crossfires hoping to outgun the players of T1. And when 11 is on the board, it is a difficult task. He is truly a all-star player on this roster. He has had a great impact so far as well. And this is, however, the point where we should become afraid for T1, because this is the side we've seen them play twice before, and twice before it was Talon that were able to win it quite, well, properly. Let's put it up like that.
I mean, I have the one query and the one qualm right now is this. Okay, so the way we saw this play out, round the first take, Capitao use, that was the drive against those Goya.
Yeah.
Second take, there was a flank that almost came through. It didn't, but it almost came through. So that's what now Talon have corrected for. They've got rid of the Capitao, they've picked the Nomad back up, they're more concerned about that flank, but at the same time, T1, they tried to bait it. They had the Goyo swapped out to the mirror as well, so they wanted to play against the Capitao bolts there and sort of change that up, and they've both sort of corrected themselves into two different holds and two different pushes where we're going to have, I would still say, this is going to be a bit of a fresh taste for a takedown here.
Could definitely be. And then, of course, maybe Yeti will no longer be reinforcing or rebarricading the doors after they have been shot open by Aziz. Might save him his life as well. Of course, the mirror window will be making sure that you don't really have to. That allows you to contest that door, contest barrels as a result, without really having to, you know, keep that door closed to block any lines of sight and potentially lose your life. Aziz will be opening it up from a very, very tight angle. He's going to continue holding that, hoping that the Smoke or any other player is going to be trying to move and trying to be a little bit too opportunistic. However, none of that will happen, and decides to continue his job, which is opening up these many doors, and after that put up the air jabs into the right position. This Yeti, again, is eyeing and potentially closing this door again. Please don't,
Yeti,
honestly.
Just don't. There are many doors, Yeti, and this one needs to stay open for now. The drones are steadily making their way around. They always knew there was going to be a presence around here, but look at this, Soldier with the pace to try and get a catch. That was a very creative use of the possibility of angles there. You expect a fight. They had the read, but he was a bit further up, but that's one of those fights where as soon as you break open that floor, they're going to have that preparation. They're going to have themselves set up. Here is a steady clear across the top. Here is a steady bit of control over the hatches, over the angles. All of the bodies of T1 are inside the site itself or on the floor. And the prerequisite, they're not going for a bit of the flank, they're not going for a bit of the play they had before, but that does not stop the caution of Talon, who are making sure that they don't suffer 11 again.
Yeah, indeed. They're putting up two of the air jabs onto the back stairs, and, you know, you might be able to find one. They're like, there's no way there's going to be two, right? And I'll be able to catch the second one off. As a result, the Soldier again putting up a lot of the utility down into that freezer, making sure that the freezer push can actually succeed. And will be rotating himself towards those back stairs probably, as the rest of Talon is looking to find the spot that they will start the final execute from. You see them all moving about. There is still that mirror window you will have to worry about, and maybe the best way to deal with that is to take that freezer, to take that control of the corridor, because, well, just fighting a mirror window head-on is never going to be working out for you. So they need to get a grenade in. They need to get something in.
Wow, Crazy Boy saw the pop-up of the grenade there, and I'm not 100% sure what happened to that nade. Maybe got caught by something at the end. Either way, I don't think I saw it explode, but it could have just been covered by the flash, and he was a very lucky Crazy Boy. Either way, he's still trying to pull out, but it's Neilio that swings wide, gets the open around the back of Freezer. That's going to be slowed by the smoke canisters, and there's another pickup either side. Talon, they realized they were out of time. They had to drive themselves for the push. Soldier took E-Box, but they didn't get very far with it. T1 bring themselves back within 1 round. And back within 1 round, most importantly, of OT.
Yeah, 1 round away from picking up that 1 point and having the opportunity to fight for the 2. The mirror window really coming in clutch here. Talon not really having any utility to try and deal with it. No ban on the board makes it hard to open it up from a distance. Of course, you can use the Selmas if you manage to get them in far enough, but with the location of the second player that was inside deep on the laundry machines, could have easily shot that one out. And there's your only response really is to get in a good smoke to deny the line of sight, or to get in a grenade right behind the mirror window, taking care of that player. Now, you saw that happen. However, grenade got taken care of by either an ADS or a magnet, making sure that the mirror player was allowed to live, and find ourselves in that 6-5 situation now. The floors is being brought out. The Nomad will be swapped out. And that gives a bit of vertical, well, not really, just soft destruction, util clear, information gathering, you know, as we said, as we mentioned before, on pre-desks here and there. A very versatile operator that you can use in the situation that's necessary for your take. And, well, think of those 3 ADSs down there. You could just quickly send an RC Retiro down there, take care of it, and then suddenly you can set up with these smokes. You can set up with grenades, toss them over deep and far, without having to worry about them being caught.
Sorry, there's just something happening on the desk that entirely stole my eyes there for a second. But
Sorry,
you're entirely right. I was listening, and you're entirely right. And I was a bit surprised that we didn't see the Flores a little bit earlier on in this game. Sure, Mute has been a consistent and often is on Oregon, but as you've so rightfully highlighted, the knowledge that these two teams have of each other is so obvious. They keep counterpicking against each other. They keep going and driving in against each other's plays. You think of the possibility of a Flores that would try and drive its way against the Dorms take. It was one of those things where you wanted it, and 11 wanted it a little bit more. Goodbye, as he taken out before he could even get the swing onto the door. They said, Yeti, you're not playing the door game. We're opening it up, and I'm becoming the door. 11! That's twice he has replaced the doorway and said, ha ha ha, it's me. Nobody expects 11.
Not after Yeti has been trying to close the door. And as he was playing the same game, I opened up the door, was waiting for someone to close it, and then 11 is like, you know what, we can just swing this as well. And it's exactly what he did, twice. Able to pick up these skills. And that is now a 2-minute advantage here for T1 in a very crucial and important round. Whereas that's a hop breach. That has been a while since I've seen that one. Right into the kids. It's going to be able to pick up the Mute who was on the drone. Onto the cam. They had no clue he was coming in. That means now kids control is for Talon. But Soldier is kind of worried about the fact that some other players could be on that top floor. He's just holding off on the angle now. Waiting for some information. But no one is there. No one is there to come anyway. And that brings it back into, well, not equal numbers, but at least some control for Talon that they can use to try and force something out of.
I mean, that was fed to them by the degree. There was somebody entirely caught on a drone, and now they're building behind it. They realize they've got to try and apply some pressure here to draw some attention away from Dorm so he can start making a bit more noise above, and Canos is going to be that first port of call. Throws the first frag, but it's caught by a disc on the door. The second has the same fate, sprays through, suffers so much. And there's the drone hole. They're just trying to catch the last bit. They get him down. They're trying to find it. Crazy boy kills the man through the very tiny danger rectangle and starts spraying to the much bigger square on the back. The stage is set for T1 to find themselves in OT. It's just Soldier, the person who swung into Dorms all alone. Steady droning, 40 seconds, 4 bodies, and a hot drop where they know exactly where you are.
Nitrocell has been pulled, will be blown up. No one will be caught. Spots out defeat, but takes a lot of damage himself. Managed to get the kill, but the flank from the top floor is underway. Yeti is about to retake the kids and is about to make sure that the round will go their way. Soldier, however, well aware there was a drone. The flank has been called, and he's going to go for a bit of a hunt. 15 seconds, however, he needs to be quick. There is no time to wait if you want to win this round, and as he is being challenged quickly, he needs to go for these kills. A 1v2 situation. The diffuser is still down. Barbed wire is in the way. There is no time. He tries to create an angle, but it's gonna kill him himself. And with that, it is T1 that will force the overtime after 2 insane drive-bys from 11. And after that, the nice drone hole play to make sure that the Yana wasn't going to be able to come far either.
I mean, I think they sort of read into the pace that was being applied to the doors, and originally it was the Yeti game, and then 11 said, I've got another idea. And he said, wait, you've got an idea other than put the doors back up? I said, yeah.
Let them keep the doors down.
Let's keep the doors down, and I'm just going to shoot the face. And it worked. It was successful, but we sort of find ourselves now, as we said, on the precipice of momentum, on the precipice of swapping back and forth. Talon are opening up with their defense here. They're back on this side, but the last time we were in the situation, on a laundry, on an opening of a Talon side, T1 were able to take that round.
All right. Fun ourselves with Talon starting out on that defensive side. Should give them a bit of an edge. As Carlos just in time stopping there with the Rima dash. Could have almost smashed through the wall he was about to reinforce. Going to see the same setup we saw before. Very, very wide extension that is, opening up into the kitchen, opening up the hatches above to play the attic originally. Of course, after being done reinforcing or creating the rotations towards the tower, will be himself jumping up that hatch as well. Or not. Come on, Tan. No, he's going to open up the other hatch first and jump up.
There he is.
Okay, no, that's fine, and then create the rotation from kids into... No, yes, maybe, come on. There we go, all right. Read it like a book.
I mean, yeah, you had that entirely right. Okay, so they have themselves this rotation. They have the fluidity. Soldier has an open door here on towards the blue barrels, and he's going to see if he can take the drone either side of it. A second drone has moved in, and will they try and put the pressure onto the shield here and put a bit of the focus onto blue and elbow, which, to be fair, we haven't seen either of these teams do. There has never really been a blue drive in this game so far.
I like how I started off this game saying 80% of the pushes come from blue, and then we haven't seen a single blue push this entire game so far. Which is refreshing to see. You know, we've been casting Oregon 3 times in a row now, and then we're getting a lot of different pushes now, a lot of different takes and holds, and it's good to see.
I think that's the good thing about Oregon, because, I mean, it took a bit of a back burner for a while. We hadn't seen it across too many of the regions. It was sort of hidden, and now it's come out with some new tricks and some new plays and ploys. And, hey, remember when we said that the roam game and that flank game was the big problem that they suffered so many times? Well, look at this. They've got the Jackal. They've got a bit of an idea. Canos is going to hold off for as long as he can. The frag grenades are bouncing either side, but he's not moving from behind the polyester sofa. Instead, he's going to stick in, drop the drone, swing around, and pre-fire the angle where he expects the pressure to come through. Look at the flood, though, and look at that man escaping. Canos, by the skin of his teeth. It's Tomorrow that swings around the back. The Vigil strikes, almost gets the Maverick as well, but suddenly, all of T1 is over. 1:20 left, and they've finally been able to get some control inside the building.
Rimadesh saved Canos' life right there. However, Tomorrow wasn't able to escape as quickly himself. And luckily for Talon, there is still the opportunity to go for a flank. There is still 2 players that are, or 3 players actually, in a position to go back up. There's one in sight. They can just go for a push. He's not even in sight. He's in blue. Soldier will win that kill. However, he's on 10 HP. Labyrinth will rotate back. And now we have 2 players back around the laundry site. 50 seconds on that clock. T1, they had an opportunity to go quickly if they managed to pick up the kill on Soldier, but they failed, and now Crazy Boy is being harassed from the hatch above. Will go down yet again. Labyrinth will get a kill himself as well before Replica responds. It's him in a 1v2 situation now. 1 upstairs, 1 inside of laundry. Has a mirror window to work with, and 30 seconds, but decides to go for the rotation. Nitro will be coming out, blows up, but not getting the kill. 25 seconds, goes to the peak yet again. A lot of damage done on either side. Still Liz, not many bullets left, and the ITA-12S will come in to secure that final kill. You can use that gun when someone is as low as he was.
I have never seen the gun work at a range like that.
Well, he was 5 HP, so it was going to kill him.
I mean, but still, like, however many hundreds and thousands of hours, however many games I've watched over many years of this game, I have never seen
this is the furthest kill I've seen with that
gun kill from that sort of range. They could be on 1 HP. And you could be firing the ITA. And I still...
They're on half an HP.
I don't even think it shoots bullets at that point. I think it's like one of those, like, you know, the comedy, like, cartoon, Saturday morning cartoon Acme guns where you fire it and then it turns into a flag.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the ITA. And the reason it only does damage within a 5-foot radius is because that is the length of the flag that comes out the barrel and says bang.
So the flag just flew out now. Like, it just flew out and hit him.
Kid Storms, we go back to, they take their first defense. They had that roam still causing problems above. And, you know, you think of that 1 kill around sort of blue that could have gone the other way. If that had gone to 11's favor, then they would have been able to swarm site with a lot more momentum and sort of drive themselves through. It's those sort of conversations here, though. It is down to T1 to see if they can lock off on Dawns. It was their 100% hold so far. Laundry wasn't. They lost it twice and only won it once. So it makes sense to come here. I'm curious to see what adaptations we get and if they try and fight back against Talon doing the grenade from underneath.
Definitely said it took care of that shield. Of course, there wasn't much time left for Talon the previous time around. It means they need to be a little bit quicker. Look at the numbers on Talon's side. 6, 10, 9, 10, 12 kills. Doing really well. Everybody's really carrying his weight into the game. Whereas might be considered a little bit more top-heavy on the T1 side. Of course, 11 with 15 kills. And being followed up quickly by Yeti on 12.
It's still... and I know it's changed to KDA. But
yes.
I still read it in my head as KA.
11 assists.
I was like, wow, 11 assists and 15-3? How's 11 done this on a 7-6? But no, it has changed, it has updated, and my brain is still being trained to quick read that the new right way round. Okay, T1, you've got yourself held up. You've got a bit of an exploration and extension here, but it's otherwise kind of the same ballpark. It's otherwise kind of the same approach here from Talon too. It's going to start with the Maverick on the backside of APAC. It's going to start again with this pressure coming in. That's a much better angle. That's a much better Mavericking that they couldn't quite have before, and they found themselves a bit stuck.
And definitely so. Trying to find an angle on the player on the shield. Of course, has the opportunity to toss it up an air jab. You already hear the air jab. They placed one at the bottom of the blue stairs to deny a potential flank to come through. And now, as Labyrinth is opening up the little gap towards the tarp, they should be able to just sneak past that. Get the grenades in, flashbangs that is, and quickly follow that one up with an air jab just to make sure that the player right behind this area is not going to be able to play safely. As the flashbangs come in, a quick one, my disc is being tossed down.
There was 2 discs. They waited for the first one,
three now.
2 more discs. They have an ADS. They have absolutely everything to hold off on this for as long as they can. That air jab gets got. It's caught actually as it's being pulled over by the ADS. There's another disc burn. There's an ADS popped. And now, Yeti finds themselves on the back line. The first grenade pops off, gets the shield though. It was a little bit of crossed wires there, obviously with the change in how utility swipes from each other. That ADS stole a disc and, you know, it became a little bit of a back and forth there, but 2 minutes burnt. Talon are starting their approach here. They've dropped the shield that's on the swing of the kids' dorm's door as well, and now it's 11, as we said. How is he going to play underneath? It's a drone on split, takes care of that and waits for a response.
He gives away his location as a result, and Cannons is patiently holding, patiently waiting for someone to move back up onto the armory stairs. And as he's opening up the window, he will find himself a way to jump out. Opens up into the game's room as well. Maybe we'll be going for a bit of a rappel up there. But he might also try and challenge the white stairs. But 11 is right around the corner. The Gun 6 will be used to deal with some of the barbed wire, and as soon as that window will be opened up, it's 11 that will be holding set angle. Will be hoping to try and find a kill there. Onto Canis, who is so close, and now tosses in a grenade.
Well, Talon get the opener. They're able to take care of one. There's the second. Neilio and 11 on the bottom of white battles back, but Soldier finds a response. Replicas off the board. It's just Yeti on this back line, dug into the far side. The plant goes down. And now he has a 3 versus 1 retake here. They've been able to find their success. The impact opens up and a great swing towards the first, but there's one on your left on trophy. Can't quite win it out. The right idea, the wrong moment. And that is a Talon game.
That is a Talon game indeed, and they managed to pick up 2 points here today. Not the full 3 they might have wanted, but 2 points still a good result, and that will be elevating themselves a little bit on the leaderboard again. I believe, if I saw it the right way, would be 4th place overall so far. Either way, good performance from them. They were able to consistently harass T1 with these flanks every single time, and even when they brought the Jackal, which in my opinion was not the right choice